Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist. My name is Antoine Marchildon. I'm joined by Alex Kolakowski. This is a show where we try to talk about, trying to be artists, trying to put a roof over our heads and try to feel fulfilled at the same time and not be lazy.
That middle
Alex.
one's the hard part, I think. The feeling fulfilled at the same time.
Well, it's a trap. It's a ruse. It's a ruse that we were dealt through Hollywood movies and fairy tale books. I think what you should look for more is the in between parts of the things you want to make you fulfilled. There's like things where it's like, I want a house, or I want a family, or I want this type of job, or I want to do this type of thing, or I want to, I don't know, buy a car or buy a new 3D printer or whatever, a new computer.
Yeah.
Have bigger versions of the in between of like saying what you want and then achieving it. Like worry about that middle bit, because that's the middle bit that you'll actually have some memory of achieving it. So it's good to make really big ones, so there's less time in those down times of being like, oh, this didn't fulfill me, blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, nothing will, because that's the whole game. The whole game is that you reach out and you try to get something, and then once you get it, that's it. You got to get another fucking thing. You got to get another piece of fruit.
You don't really want the thing. You want the means to achieve the thing. You want like a realistic journey that you feel like you're making advancements on.
Yeah.
You need the goal is like it's whatever you want it to be, but it doesn't really matter. It's like.
But some of them are really real and good. You know what I mean? Some of them are actually things where you're like, oh, I actually really want this thing.
Like when Oscar was like, he wanted to. My friend Oscar, who's also an artist and had his own goal to like get his wife. He needed to get a full-time job here so that he could bring her over, because they had to be long distance until that could happen, right? So
yeah,
that was a pretty cool goal. That was probably the most, most people are just after like a Switch or like paying
possessions. Possessions. So make sure your goals are really big, so the journey takes up a lot of time. So there's less time to feel sad about yourself when you actually get the fucking thing you want. Alex, what have you been up to?
Man, so much this week. This week was pretty busy. I started off, I announced that I'm going to do like another model, like a in-between release model that is, the whole goal of it is to just keep engagement around, because like when the month rolls over from one to the next, a lot of people take off before they get charged for the next month, because you get charged as soon as that next month begins on Patreon.
Yeah.
And so fair enough. And it's also just the way I release halfway through the month. So it's kind of a slow, like I usually don't have a lot to share at that time, because I'm usually trying to finish that month's release up.
Yeah.
So what I did is I'm making a smaller model that I'll release on the 1st, so that hopefully stick around to get the freebie.
You're a stinky boy.
Yeah.
I like it. It's good. It's to be like, hey, don't leave. There's this cool thing.
Yeah.
It's just a cool thing.
Yeah, there's a cool thing. It's just coming. It'll be here next week.
Yeah, we had a topic actually that we're going to talk about.
Oh, well, we can get into your week too. I mean.
Oh yes, for sure. Not that productive. Pretty productive. That doesn't make any sense, because that's two things that cancel out each other. I would say not as productive as I wanted to be, but I got some work done. I got pieces done. I got some prints done, and I did some reiteration. I did some reiterations. That sounds almost wrong. Reiterations on a couple pieces, and I've been fighting with kind of like the style and the theming my next Kickstarter, and I was kind of fighting with like, oh, do I want some like Skeleman faces in my structure, or do I want it really simple, kind of fantasy gothic? You know what I mean? Like I was very like trying to justify. I was just like, wait, like, why do I want to do this? And like, do I think that I'm offering something new with this, or like,
are you doing
is this going to be a stretch goal, or like, is this going to be coherent with other things I want to do? So I was like really trying to decide like, okay, what's my pitch? Like, what's the story I'm trying to tell? Is the story all the pieces of terrain have skelemans on it, skelefaces on it, skeletons, skulls? Or is the story look at this cool gizmo, not gizmo, but like this new way to kind of build things? And that's what it was more. That was my intent the whole time. Like that, adding the cool, adding the decor around it was like the second part. My first part is to get, like I did a little printing here. You can see I got some stairs going.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very lame.
You know what those stairs remind me of is like Castlevania. There's like stairs everywhere in Castlevania.
Yeah.
And you're always kind of going up. I think that would be a cool. Like, I wouldn't.
You can see you can actually put characters on here.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Sometimes you don't get the story right away, man. Like sometimes you need to do what you like first. And then
the story. Well, no, everything is the story, though, man.
Yeah, I hear you, but when you're trying to sum it up in one word or one phrase, I guess, like you might not, like sometimes you don't have enough of the complete picture to say, what definitively what it is. You know what I mean?
I know, but that's really important, so I know where I can priority my focus, though, right? Because I don't want that to happen. The same thing that happened in my last Kickstarter, where I was like just kind of making random shit.
Yeah.
Some of the shit got cut because it just didn't feel right or just didn't look right. You know what I mean? And so like that's I don't know how many days, but that's time lost, and I don't want that, right? And if I can stick to the initial thing that I want to tell people for the Kickstarter, and what that is you can make these cool structures and path and walkways and like areas for your tabletop game to play on. You know what I mean? For wargaming, fantasy wargaming, or RPGs. You know what I mean? So then because I have a set amount of time, and so there's also kind of like, okay, if I put skulls in all my stuff and make it kind of like creepy looking, like very like a certain type of like that. I had an idea of like, oh, this would be cool to make, but the time it will take for each piece and stuff like that, that's so much more work to put skulls and put certain designs to make it kind of like a creepy kind of like dark kind of thing, right? And then going with something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say safe, because I'm still putting a lot of work into it. I'm still trying to design it and still trying to like make it, cool, but put it in a way where I can wedge my bets easier, because there's just that's the wrong word to use. I would say like I could probably get more done doing just kind of Gothic cathedral theming. And then if there's time, I could start throwing in those other ideas that I had for like different, designs and whatnot. But I want to get all the pieces like ready, and like the ideas of like, because I have ideas of pieces I want to make, but I haven't made them yet, and I don't know how they're going to work really, and how they're going to be getting 3D printed, right? So, and I still have to 3D print them and test them if I'm not sure about them, and figure out a way where they don't need any supports. You know what I mean? Like those stairs I made, like those don't need any supports. I print them on their side like that, and then they print upwards, so no supports. So
Yeah, man. All I'm saying is sometimes you understand your story intrinsically before you can put it into words, and that gives you kind of like a compass to follow. Sometimes when you're working, and you're like, I know I need to do this. This feels right.
Yeah.
This is a model I'm really excited about, and I need to have it in my campaign, my Kickstarter campaign. And so then it's like, once you have enough of those, I'm really passionate about like making this thing. This is like, an idea that I'm really excited about. And then you can start like in a reductionist way coming up with a story after you have those things.
I don't think
your purple cow is like, I don't think your purple cow is your gothic versus skulls. I think I see plenty of that in other.
Well, no, it isn't. It isn't. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying the story is the building aspect. Like this building aspect I'm making, I haven't seen it anywhere else.
I think your y-axis kind of like elevation game.
Yeah.
I think that's what's new.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the story. And so I'm saying like I have to what I'm trying to say is I gotta like stop my
maybe
here's an idea.
Here's an idea.
Go ahead.
Maybe like you can play into that theme since you're building up. You need like a theme that like maybe the skulls are at the base, at the bottom, like you're down at the ground level, and then you get more into the cathedral kind of heavenly looking Gothic church inspired stuff as you go up to the top, and you're actually building to like something.
That's kind of a cool theming, yeah, because I could make catacombs, right?
You could make the catacombs, feeling at the bottom, and it's a little bit more like the stones are more like maybe shanty or something down there. But then as you get to the
all
top,
shanty.
I don't know if that makes sense. But
no, it makes
it's a descent or ascending to heaven kind of thing.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. But still, like, well, I think what it is, I just thought about this. I think what it is, I have to stop myself from being like, this would be really cool, and I think people will think it's really cool. Like stop trying to be cool. Just make something that's unique.
Well, I think the first part of that sentence is what's most important. Is when you say this will be cool.
Yeah.
And then you get in.
That gets every artist in trouble.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to make what you think is cool.
Yeah, that's true. But I also got to make something that will, be something more than just being like, I want to make this because I think it's cool. You know what I mean? It's like if everybody did that, nothing really innovative would come out of anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm really trying to like this Kickstarter. I don't want it just to be like some cool models.
Yeah.
And I want it to be something like, oh, this is something I've never seen before, and the modeling's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the art and the work is good, and I've never seen it before. That's a double feature, my dude. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I think that's where I'm at.
I hear you.
My project or whatever.
I'm going through the same thing, man. It's like I feel like my most popular model is one that wasn't super. It's like the wizard with the book in his hand. Like I've even seen people do that model before, but I think because it was like. I don't know. There's something like everybody. It's a bit of a trope, but everybody is like identifies with it because of that too.
Yeah.
So I think you need to just like have some of those models, like have some of those like pieces of art where it's like this is a trope and everybody recognizes it and everybody kind of agrees that it's cool, but it's maybe not the most innovative. And you have a few of those, and then you have your innovative ones that are a risk that only your real fans are gonna like.
Yeah.
I feel like my last release was like that, where it's like the couple people who really follow me are really excited about it. And maybe that's just because at this point, whatever I make, they'll be excited about, which could totally be possible just because they're so just into it now.
Well, it just depends. Sorry to cut you off. It just depends like what type of people you're attracting, right? Because we've talked about this as well, where like I was like under impression like, oh, you're going to like make a bunch of cool like fucking fantasy characters, and then but what it was is like you're like no I want to make this little like story of this like fucking tower, and there's this dark lord, and there's like all these little pieces, and it was very, very unique. And I was like, okay, now I'm starting to get it. Like you're not thinking about, you don't want like a bunch of generic whatever and then try to make some money off it. You're like trying to grow this little thing and like grow it and grow it and grow it and grow it. And hopefully out of the whole kind of growth of this world you're making, this is just what I'm understanding. Out of this whole growth of this world you're making, like there's opportunities to like, you know, make different stories and tie in, you know, projects with that story and whatnot. And like I've thought about, you know, stories in my head and stuff like that. And then I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to write, you know, because that's a lot of work.
Well, I think writing, when you have a story, I feel like writing should be the last thing you do, because like it's a lot of work to maintain. I've realized. You know, I never have to go back to an image and like edit a small piece of, you know, like, but when I release a sheet, it's like, oh, I notice there's the grammar on this one, in this one word, in this one paragraph. I got to go back and update that. The more writing I put into stuff, the more like, maybe that's just because we're not writers and we're not.
Oh, no, not at all.
Super diligent about editing our own shit. But I find I go back and revise that, or I look at it and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. But so, and I think you can tell a lot of story without any writing. You know, you can, like an illustration is an illustration for a reason, because it's talking to you without words and it's supposed to communicate. Art is communication at the end of the day. If it's not, it's just propaganda, which is still communication, I guess. But so I think, I don't know, like maybe I think your story will come out though as you do what's really important to you about this piece that you feel needs to be done. And then once you have a few of those, you might think like, okay, well, this one is a bit far out. This one thing I really like that I want to do, this one sort of, maybe I have a spiral staircase that doesn't really fit in. But now maybe if I do a couple more things, I can make it fit in, and then maybe it becomes like this kind of feature that sticks out. I don't know, but that's like why art is kind of a puzzle too. Like every time you do one, you got to solve these little problems to like get in everything that you want.
Yeah. Well, what's the saying go? Like, get out of your own way. Is that what the saying is? Get out of your own way.
Yeah, I think so.
And and that's like a constant thing that like I've done through my art career, and not knowing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't get out of the way. You actually like put obstacles in front of your face, or distractions of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's my week. That was my week.
Cool.
Yesterday I got up at 11. It was awesome.
I love that. I think I did that one of these days, one of these weekend days.
Not you. You got a full-time job. You can't do that.
I know. Yeah, it sucks. Waking up on time. Still got to wake up on time.
Yeah. No, that's good to have that though, because you know.
I do still have a better routine during the week of like waking up, you know, getting all ready for the day, and then working for a couple hours, and then going for a run. I don't do it every day, but I'm way more likely to do it during the week than I am on the weekend. Like,
Oh, by the way, I just want to congratulate you on having over 100 Patreons.
Yeah, I crossed 100 this week. That was
fucking cool, dude.
Awesome, man.
That's cool.
I was really worried about May. I was like, nobody was joining until like around the 21st or the 22nd, and then all of a sudden, like 21 people just joined overnight. I did a Reddit post that like I think resonated with people. Like I've always done. Every time I release the. You know, I share a picture of like, this is the model, this is the 5e sheet, this is the illustration, But this time I said like, instead of like saying, like I used to kind of focus on like, oh, you get, you know, this character, maybe talk about the character. And then people, what would always happen was like, because I'm getting used to it now, people would go on and be like, hey, do I only get one mini? Like they would say that.
Yeah.
And so this time I just addressed it right away. I was like, this is my latest release. Yes, you only get one mini, but you get the 5e sheet, the blah, 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 the blah, blah, blah. And then I wrote, this is not a volume Patreon. This is a Patreon for people who love and adore RPG like fantasy RPG artistry. And if that's you, I'd love to have you. And that got so much more like, people were like, yeah, that's me. And like, nobody asked like how many models, or like, nobody asked what's the, I think people go in expecting it to be like 5
Exactly. Yeah,
models,
because that's
and
the
then they see
norm.
the
That's the
one.
norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to kind of break everybody of that right away, of this like preconceived notion of us, this like.
But not just that, then not just that. Also, you putting that post and really describing like what your Patreon's all about. Then you're finding the people that you actually want, which is the people that are like really into like fantasy art and the cards and like the individual, like a little like stuff that has a little bit more like character behind it. You know what I mean? Where it's not just like Zombie Fighter Monk 3 and Zombie Fighter Monk 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a little bit more like lore to it all. And what would be really cool from this whole thing? Like you making these little stories and these characters, it'd be really neat if somebody was like, I don't know, it's like, hey, I want to take your characters in your little world and make an actual fucking book out of it. And then you rent out their IP, your IP.
Yeah. Someday. Yeah, I would like.
Who knows?
Yeah, I do want to, like you said, with the story, like maintain some kind of like coherence, like they're tied together, like
but at least a world, right? At least a world where you have these little kind of stories of characters and situations, even where people could be like, "Oh, that's really neat," and they can, draw from that.
Yeah, it's like
didn't go anywhere with that.
It'd be hard to. I think it'd be a lot harder to release these things without that. Honestly, like the way I got it is like the biggest, baddest top boss. He's in the welcome package, and you get him like everyone who signs up gets that figure, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they missed a month.
Yeah.
And every figure I release ties into him somehow, because he's like the boss. He's like the lord. So then each character has a little bit of like backstory and how they fit in with the boss. So the fact that you always get this guy, it always means something with each release, because they have this like interplay between the two. So, and that's not something I planned. That was just something that like I saw out of what I was creating. Like, I better do this, because like the first two I released, they were just kind of two that went together, like the wizard and the paladin, the dark guys. Yeah. And the next one, I just kept going with that. But like, I didn't have that phrase. I didn't have that one word. This is my story, like, and I don't know that I even have a perfect sentence for it yet. Like, but
yeah, it's just happening, and you're just like, what is this? Our first podcast?
Yeah.
You can correct me if I'm wrong here. You're kind of like launching a rocket ship and simultaneously building it at the same time.
Yeah, and I don't know where it's going either, but I know where. But I'm like know when I'm on course, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it's different. Maybe a Patreon is different than a Kickstarter, because I just have to make a release every month, and it's a lot smaller in scale compared to like a big Kickstarter that's like your rocket ship that you're flying, that is the destination, and you got to get to it, but you don't know the path. Whereas like I'm just like on this path that I know I should be on, but I don't know where it's going, and I don't really need to know.
You're taking one step at a time in the woods, and I'm fucking I'm building a bulldozer. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this thing ready, and then I'm just gonna press the button and see what happens.
Yeah, man.
Not entirely. I'm like, I'm trying to like get all my measurements up and ready, and like being like, oh, if I do this, and if I organize this like this, and if I, kind of thing. Man. Hey, let's talk about this before we run out of time. It's only 20 minutes in. So your website, I'm very jealous of it. I really like it.
Oh, thanks.
And I think it looks very professional. It's very cool, and it just makes you look that more legit. Like when I see it, I'm like, oh, this is a fucking professional. You know what I mean?
It's hard. Yeah. Whoops. And again, Sam was a big help with it. Like she's kind of taken over.
I got a little problem though. I got a little problem with it.
All right. Well, let's have a look because I've done a lot of work since you first messaged me about it.
Oh, you didn't change it because I'm on it right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to share my screen. I already have it open.
Okay, let's share your screen.
All right. Okay. First and foremost, I think this looks awesome. I think this like right away.
On yours, actually.
What's that?
Go ahead. I just noticed some things that bugged me about it that I don't see on your page.
Okay. Anyways, it's super cool. You know what I mean? Like, you got the 4 cool characters, and you got this cool shot, and you got this other cool shot, and it's just coolness. And you got all the little buttons here, which is super cool. Right away when I opened this, I was like, "Oh, cool!" And I did this. I went, "Oh, click, click." Oh, what the fuck? So, change this as a button. Change this as a little thumbnail button thing. Because right away I clicked. I was like, "What the fuck? What's not happening?"
Dude, I was on Shopify and I was messaging tech support on how to move because you can add a button to this image, but you can only add it right into the center, like right on the cock of that knight, basically. Yeah. Hey, Fabrice, how's it going?
Yo, Fabrice.
And I really want it to be there. I totally know what you're saying. I totally hear you. It's where the button needs to be. I was referring to the Disney website, and what they always do is they have a splash page like this.
Yeah.
And on the right-hand side, there's kind of illustration, Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever it is, and then the left-hand side, it's like Disney Plus. Click here, go there, you go there, and you're like, fuck. And so I built the image like that, but I gotta figure out. I think I need to go and edit the HTML. The button to be there.
Either get rid of it or put it somewhere else. Because when I saw that this icon, I was like, "Oh, Patreon! I know what that is. I'm gonna click it," and then nothing happened. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Also,
maybe it's the icon.
I think it is. I think it is.
It wouldn't feel like a button.
No, it wouldn't feel like a button because get rid of the icon. And then maybe even coming down here, even have an icon for your Patreon. Have the Patreon button and have that a thing that you can click on down here.
Well, there is a Patreon link if you scroll up.
No, I know, but it's like that's your right? So, because the thing is when I get down here, it's your social media, but let's say there's somebody that's like, "Hey, I want to check out this guy's Patreon right away." And the more you can get people at that Patreon faster is better, right?
Yeah.
And then what else did I have to say? So I'm sure, I don't know if you can change this. I'm sure you can, but when I click Patreon, it closes your site and then puts me just to your Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
You should have it open as a different tab, I feel. For the Patreon button.
Yeah. So Pete and Sam were talking about this too. And
oh, really?
So this is another limitation, or at least it's just something technical that I haven't figured out yet, is you have 2 options by default. When you set that up, it says, do you want it in a new window, or do you want it in just to go to the page like it acts now?
Okay.
And I had it set as new window, but then when I went and browsed my page, it wasn't working because I have ad blocker up. Because the pop-up, it's it gets pop-up blocked.
Oh, it's
so I'm like, who doesn't have a fucking pop-up blocker? Everybody has a goddamn pop-up blocker.
I'm a piece of shit.
So
those YouTubers not getting my money.
Yeah, that's why you want the new window, the new tab, because I don't think that gets blocked by pop-up blockers.
Yeah, I see.
Well, yeah. So anyway, long story. I totally agree with your instincts here.
But for the most part, right away, you got your descriptions, You got your little thing. You got your little shop, little shopperoo. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's weird. That's weird.
That's a broken link.
Yeah, that's a broken link. Oh, okay. That works. That works. That works. That works.
Yeah.
Gallery. That's not the only picture you have for your gallery. You should have more.
Yeah. Could add more there.
And then your YouTube. Oh yeah. When did you start this YouTube thing?
I actually just started this last week. I had for a while I've been wanting to do like, because I release like the 5e sheets and I release the cards, and they've got a lot of little gameplay nuances that I hope people pick up, but I don't know for sure that it's always getting through. So I'm like, okay, I need a YouTube video of just me explaining exactly how these characters, how I imagine they play out, because I try to like imply it with the text, but who knows? So then I just made a video where I just go in depth and I explain like every little card, every little thing I wrote on them, just so that that's clear. And then I was, a few people have asked me just like about export settings from Zbrush to Cura.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just make a quick video of that. Cool. And that video was like a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I mean, some people.
It's your most popular video at date.
Yeah, including every video we've ever done on this show. Put together, probably.
Put together.
Yeah. But we don't really advertise it.
We don't.
We just wait for Fabrice to go tell his friends about it, which hasn't happened yet.
Oh, man. Don't put Fabrice on the spot like that. Also, I want to say this little merchant page. I think this is really clever and really cool. I really like this too.
Well, that came out of somebody came and bought some miniatures thinking that they were going to get real miniatures from me. And I was like, I guess I'm not super clear about it. So then I thought, Antoine's gone. Hopefully he comes back. Anyway, I was just thinking that like, I better put my vendors up there. Oh, here he is.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I pressed stop stream.
Oh, you closed the wrong thing.
Yeah, my bad. I'm glad you're still up. I made sure to do that in my Kickstarter. I put a big disclaimer at the bottom where I was like this is not anything physical. This is only digital files.
Yeah, it's easy to be confused, right?
Yeah, especially when I'm showing off like actual like physical models and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, man. Some of those and some of my merchants are selling my figures so cheap that I want to buy them off them. Like this is like they're like after maybe because of shipping. It's a little bit more expensive than my actual STLs, but I'm like, damn, this is really.
How much are they selling them for?
Well, I think the cheapest one is Boss Monster Minis at like €8 or something like that, and then another $9 shipping. So I guess what is that? What is that in dollars? Like for us,
Euros?
I don't know. It's probably like around $30. It's got to be around $30, I would say. Who knows? But that's pretty good.
But that's way cheaper than going to a third-party 3D printing group and being like, "Hey, can you 3D print this for me?" And they're like, "That'll be $100."
Yeah, and there was this dude on Instagram who does he reviewed my stuff. I sent him some figures to review my stuff, and he did a great job. His name's NPC Voices, and it cost me $25 just to ship my prints to him.
Yeah.
So I might as well. I'm thinking if I ever do that again, I might as well just hire one of my merchants who like has a resin printer. They all have resin printers. They get way better quality prints than I do.
Yeah, and they also know what they're doing on top of that.
Yeah, they ship every day, they're shipping this stuff all the time. They've got probably nice packaging or at least appropriate packaging. So what I might do, I might actually like just put an order with a few people and see what the package looks like and just like maybe decide who I do that with.
What are you talking about right now? What do you mean? Look at their packaging. I don't know what you're saying.
Because like, okay, so some merchants sell just the STL files, but some merchants will sell the cards as well as the
the card
RV sheets.
Okay.
And some people will even laminate them. Like they do a really nice job with those sheets and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably nicer than I did. I didn't laminate them, so yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, do it up. Yeah. Because then you can also show it off on your Instagram or on whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. What was I going to say? That's about it for that, I guess. Yeah, that was your website, and I was really happy for it. And that, when I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, I need something like that." And so I need to make a fucking blog and a fucking, what's it called again? A mailing list. That's what I need. I need a blog and a mailing list.
Mm-hmm. I don't have the mailing list yet.
Yeah, it's so important when you think about it.
Apparently, MailChimp is like not free.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Why would it be free?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a service, man. Service.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're doing something.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So I wanted to do, before I did this 30-day tiles thing, I wanted to make a character model and then have a mailing list for people to sign up for the character model. So,
yeah, that's what Archvillain Games does. They have if you sign up to their mailing list, you get this free figure.
Yeah, it's really cool, and plus, gets people on your mailing list. So I still want to do that, but I want to do I first want to do a version of that that's directly connected to my Kickstarter. And like I've said this before, I want to get my Kickstarter page approved and a lot sooner than my last Kickstarter, so I can have the Kickstarter page where it says coming soon, follow, and then have that page and start promoting it through a model, like a cool model on my Thingiverse. Because right now my Thingiverse is where I got all my my.
That's where your big following is.
Yeah, that's where people like my work, and that big reason why people backed my Kickstarter and stuff like that. So I'm kind of thinking about what could I make where through time it will generate interest in people, to take a look and press that little follow button, because the higher that amount is, that little number at the bottom, it says how many people are following this page.
On Kickstarter, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, on Kickstarter. That's essentially like a mailing list that gets sent out. You know what I mean? To all the people, they get a reminder of when this Kickstarter goes live.
Yeah.
So I should do both, which would make sense. But I think that's one thing I want to try to do this week, anyways, is to figure out what I could make and figure out what I can make to help promote this next Kickstarter. However, though, I don't even have a name for this next Kickstarter, and I still need stuff.
You have to have a name before you can preserve your...
You can have a placeholder name, but that's the name that's going to be hung over the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. Antoine is creating blah 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 on whatever.
Yeah, and then also have a main splash page of what's the Kickstarter actually kind of going to look like. So I was thinking okay, so do I just show off 3D renders, or do I show off actual physical, models. So we'll see. It just depends like how soon I want the thing to get out the door. So, and sooner is better, right? Because then more people will, stumble across it. So I'm toiling and trying to figure that out.
Well, I was just thinking, man, what might be fun to do with what you have. You already have quite a bit that you can kind of build some structures and some framing and stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Sort of. Not quite there.
No?
Yet.
Okay.
They're still missing some.
Like, if you have a few more, like maybe you could do like render some silhouettes in Maya and then just really sloppily do a paint over in
I hate that.
Photoshop and just
I see it all. I see it sometimes and I hate it. It looks so.
No, I don't mean as a splash image. I mean as like a planning, like, I want a piece that looks kind of like this shape, and then, you know what I mean? Like plan really loosely, quickly plan like other models you want to make.
I already have a bunch of models I already want to make. I actually do gray blocking. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And then out of the gray blocking, I'm like, okay, this piece goes here. Like, what about this? And it's like, that doesn't really work out. And we do this kind of thing. So it's kind of like concepting. Like I have an idea, but then it's better to do it that way for 3D printing because I could concept something up and draw something up, and then you like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I think this will work. But then once you start modeling it, and then you're like, I don't know about this piece. This piece looks like a little bit too much of an overhang, and then you have to go fix it, right? Not saying that there's no merit or no nothing to gain from doing concepts or whatever, but for me, I think doing almost like a gray blocky concept in Maya is better because I can kind of right away I can be like, this is not going to go over this because I know this is not going to 3D print properly. Or like I'll tackle something, I'm like, okay, this is going to be weird. How is this going to 3D print? How can I cut this in a way where I can put it on the bed flat and still print it without supports, So that's what I'm doing so far. And of course, I always have reference open in whatever I'm like trying to tackle. So
yeah, I only really do concept art if there's something I like, a shape in mind that I can't find reference for, or I don't know, I don't feel like reference would help me with. But usually that's kind of rare. Like quite often I can just like take 2 or 3 images and just say, okay, I'm going to mix these 2 to make this new thing, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you should concept everything. In fact, like probably, the least amount you can do and still produce what you want that you're happy with is probably the best, because it is time consuming, and it's like, it's kind of not really end product work,
Yeah, I know what you mean. What I've also thought about? I thought about not even having stretch goals.
Yeah. You said a few people do that, right? Like
one person, printable scenery, but they do it a lot different, where they have like these tiers, and the tiers. Well, they've done this. My knowing, they've done this 2 times, and the first time was a fantasy-based thing where it was like, here's a town, and then under the town is like a goblin cave, and so you could back, or you're technically buying. You buy the fantasy town, or you can buy the goblin cave, or you can buy both for a discount, right? So it was $80 New Zealand, $80 New Zealand for each, or $120 for both. So like, and that's a pretty interesting kind of like business model, because like, it's like you give people, like a cool option like that, and it just seems more kind of, I don't know, I just see it as more professional in a weird way. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this seems really professional, and I really like it, and it feels like you're offering your fans of like, hey, look, I made all this fucking cool shit. It's already all done, and you just have to give this money, and it's at a discount. And if you want both, it's at a discount, and it's just like it is what it is, and you just get it. You know what I mean? And it's just like I'm not doing like a little song and dance, like, oh, fucking give me money because I'll unlock these things. Like,
it's kind of necessary though. Like, I think having goals and incentives for people to like up their pledge at the last minute to like hit.
Yeah, that's cool too. And I don't know. I just think the stretch goal thing. When I had a bad experience with my stretch goals in my last Kickstarter because it was very kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because I had to make these stretch goals like seem somewhat interesting and have some sort of value, right? So when I was like modeling and making stuff, I was like, oh fuck, I have to model an extra piece, or like I had to you have to like manage like, okay, should this be in this tier? And like, okay, if this is in this tier, how much is this going to be? And it's just like a whole different little game. Yeah. And then after that, like every time you unlock something, people are like, hey, this thing just got unlocked. Let's see what it is. I want to see it. And so then you got to get the renders ready and like have it all set up and be like, oh, here's the new thing that's unlocked. And you like post about the new thing that's unlocked and blah, blah, blah. Like, which is all beneficial, by the way. But it's just, it's just work. And I don't want to do work.
Yeah. Well, maybe like, that sounds like something you can kind of put off till later a little bit, right? Because
it depends.
Could,
because I think the one thing that kind of helped me through the like pushing through and like making more pieces for the Kickstarter was the stretch goals, because I like themed the stretch goals towards the campaign, and the whole theming was like, oh, like you're unlocking all these like pieces or whatever, and then like the higher pledges are like these gross infected like pussy like horned bile things, right? And like it was like the stretch goals are kind of themed in that way, and I think that's kind of fun in a way where it's like, oh, look at all these stretch goals, they're all themed out towards the kind of story of the campaign of the Kickstarter. And I'm still trying to figure that out for this Kickstarter, but yeah, it'll hopefully it comes to me.
Maybe you can do
once more pieces are done.
Like finish the work, finish all the pieces and the parts, and then look at them and decide, okay, maybe I need to find 8 or 10 of these things to remove to put in my stretch goals. It's like, I'm going to take these out. Instead of like making everything and then adding something new on top of it, make everything, but make a little bit more than you think you might need.
Well, this is what I was thinking. Like, I'm going to have the set amount of pieces, and then a lot of those pieces, I want to make destroyed versions of them, right? Have like, destroyed stair pieces.
Yeah,
or whatever.
For sure. Yeah.
And so like, and that's not every piece has to have a destroyed piece, but there's a good chunk there of like pieces that I can like, destroy, quote unquote. So like that could be a couple stretch goals. And then also some other like miscellaneous like props, like ladders and like ladders and like little wooden walkways, so you can like bridge them across paths.
That's cool.
The
idea of like I'm saying a broken stairway, but then as the character walks over it, they have to roll you roll a D10 or a D20, and there's a chance
jump
just fall underneath you.
For sure.
That's pretty. It sounds pretty punishing, but it's quite common in dungeons. D&D dungeons have these super punishing traps where you just fall to your death with little, what's the word? Foreshadowing or whatever.
Yeah.
Fabrice says, feels like Kickstarter with no stretch goals is more like a pre-order.
It is. It definitely is. But however, though, that's printable sceneries, and they've been around for a long time, so they have the notoriety. Yeah, the notoriety. They have the push, right, to do something like that. And but in a weird way, my first Kickstarter, that's exactly what it was, right? Because all the models were already done, and it was kind of like this parade of being like, hey, look at this cool, awesome fucking shit I made, and hopefully you like it and you partake in it. And I don't know, it's just an idea, and it seems like it's successful. But once again, that's printable scenery. They've been around a long time, and they know what they're doing. So maybe one of these days I can do something like that. But we'll see. What was I talking about? Yeah, that's about it.
I mean, one option, like the true, like what a stretch goal is designed for, right? I mean, let's put it in the context of like a video game that hasn't been developed yet. You make your demo or whatever, and you're like, okay, depending on how much money I get out of this Kickstarter is going to be the scale of my video game, right? And then the stretch goal makes so much sense because it's like, if we get $500,000, well, you get like more levels. If you get a full million, then we'll add multiplayer because we can afford that now. So, but that doesn't apply when the way everybody does 3D modeling, miniatures or whatever, where you typically model everything up front.
Yeah, that's not all of them, but I'm most definitely sure that that's the case. Because I remember a comment somebody asked me. He was like, he or she, I don't know, was saying, "Oh, hey, are you gonna sell these? If these stretch goals don't get unlocked, are you gonna sell them individually on like a website or something like that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." So he or she knew that, like, yeah, I know your game. You already have the models, and you're just trying to like,
it feels
you're just
like day one DLC a little bit, where you're holding back some shit. Like, it might be more effective if they're just silhouettes and you don't actually see the model.
Yeah,
maybe you don't even like. Maybe you can write in your first line that, like, okay, once this is backed, your main project, your main campaign will ship right away because you've done the work. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But these stretch goals really are stretch goals, and if people want them, I'll make them. But I haven't made them yet. But it's hard. You got to really. It's hard to show off what you haven't made and offer that as a teaser when it's not done yet. But
then you have a concept art of something, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That's tricky, man. That's a tough game because the way we do it, it really just sets you up to just add a liability and like just reduce kind of.
Money has to be worth it, man. Like, the money has to be worth it. It has to be something like, it would have to be the point of money where you're like, I'm okay doing this for the next month of modeling because I'm getting paid X amount of dollars. Right?
Yeah.
So that's you know what? That's a good way to think about it. Maybe I should do something like that where it's like, maybe make something not totally outlandish, but outlandish to the point where it's like, okay, I'll make that, and I'll take time out of my year and make this thing now because you guys showed interest and you guys want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, man, I don't know. Depending on what you have, like, let's say your campaign was like a mountain with a dragon on top. You know what I mean? And then your Kickstarter stretch goals could be, every 10 grand, it's like a different dragon. And then it's really easy. Like, you might not even need an image of a dragon to know what a dragon is or what another dragon would mean for the project, because everybody understands what it is, and you can show the example of one that you already have.
Yeah. Well, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to make a really cool fucking like cathedral church castle thing that's like kind of somewhat modular. No, it'd be pretty much modular, and so you can build it out as big as you want or as small as you want. And I wanted to do that, but that almost seems like an individual like thing where it's like it has nothing to really do with like this this building thing I'm making, right? There's like nothing really to it, and maybe that could be like a thing where it's like, hey, if I get over 100,000, I'll make this fucking giant fucking ass castle.
Yeah. Do you have a hero asset, like hero set piece in mind, like one?
Yes, I do. I have like these. I have a couple ideas for like different like altars, like almost like different things where like you can interact with, where it's like, oh, this is like a blood altar, or this is like a fucking
that's cool.
angel altar or whatever. You know what I mean? Just like different things where it's like it's almost kind of like, okay, there's something with this piece because there's a lot of character to it. You know what I mean?
That might be a good thing to stretch goal then. Like you have a couple, 2 or 3 or whatever, and then you're like, okay, get to here, you get the like stone altar, you get the ice altar, or whatever.
Yeah, some sort of thing.
Necrotic, radiant. I'm thinking of
Stop.
D&D.
Stop. Yeah, no, that's actually a good idea. Have big like altar set pieces as stretch goals. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, it's 9:04, and I don't think we got to any of the topics we were going to talk about. But
no, we didn't.
Okay, I don't care.
No, that's fine, because this podcast was actually pretty decent, actually.
We actually had stuff like, it wasn't like last week where we didn't really have anything to talk about.
I blame me because I was just so low energy and crabby. Yeah.
I feel like last week my Patreon didn't have a lot going on, and then 1 week it was just madness. So here we are.
Yeah.
It's kind of like calmed down now a little bit. So
a little bit. I'm gonna eat sushi. I'm gonna get sushi. What?
Oh.
I said I'm gonna get sushi. I'm gonna get some fucking sushi.
Get some sushi, man.
Yeah. Not right now. It's 9:00. That's an odd time to get sushi. Okay. Well, I guess we'll stop it here. Stop on a decent note. I sort of figured out my painting scheme for my stuff. I don't know if you can see that. Not bad, eh?
Cool. I have to really get in because I have like a small window within a small window. Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
Did you do your tutorial?
Yeah, I already did that for District 0012.
So I guess you need to start a YouTube channel for.
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah.
Couple things. I actually want 2 videos. Sorry, I know I was just about to end it here. I want 2 videos for my next Kickstarter, and one video will be the Kickstarter, right? Like, the pieces and showing off things and stuff like that. And then the next Kickstarter, the next video will just be like me talking about the campaign a bit, and talking about like my process, and talking about maybe a little bit about myself. I don't know, just put a face behind the campaign. You know what I mean? Start getting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe people will be like, this guy's annoying. I don't want this person in my life. I'm not backing your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who
knows? It's kind of a silly thing to worry about.
I think we kind of chatted about this in the last episode about, like putting your face out there and
putting your mug out there.
Yeah, mugging. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm trying to do it more though. I'm trying to someday I'll show my face to my patrons. But
okay, all right then. Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist. If you want to help out the show, then subscribe or leave a like or leave a comment or hit the little bell and you'll get notified when we go live. We're every Tuesday at 7:00, but not right now. We're at 8:00, but that'll change hopefully soon. Actually, I don't know. 7:00 is pretty rough.
Yeah. Maybe instead of 7, we'll go to like a whole totally different time of day.
Yeah.
But then we'll never see Fabrice again. Unless he wakes up real early.
Or something.
Yeah.
Alex, we can find you where?
Just one link this time, my friend. TigerSkullRPG.com.
Right.
Your one-stop shop.
I need a blog now. I need a blog. There's no question about it. I need a blog. All right then. You can find me at Forbidden Prince. You can find me at the Instagrams. You can find me at the tweets. You can find me at the Thingiverse or my mini factory. I think I just hit a 100 followers on my mini factory, which is new.
That's cool.
Which is nice.
Does that mean sales?
Sorry?
Does that mean sales?
Yeah, I've been actually selling a couple things on my mini factory, so I'm happy.
Sweet.
Anyways, yeah, Alex, I'll catch you on the next one, or we might hang out. We didn't hang out last week, but we might hang out this week, maybe. We gotta watch Return of the King.
Oh, you guys didn't watch that? Okay.
We didn't even hang out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm going to try and get a lot of work done this week so I don't feel so stressed out during the weekend. Maybe I can enjoy
Sounds good.
myself.
All right, Alex.
Okay. Thank you. Ciao. Bye now. See you next Tuesday.